So we've all been there, haven't we? We've hit a good approach shot, it's just off the edge of the green, and we've got a pretty straightforward shot, but we get over the golf ball, and I see far too many golfers from a nice straightforward position either chunk it and don't even reach the green, or maybe even worse than that, they get set, looks like everything's ready, and they thin that one, that they're hoping like mad it stays on the green, but it's not, and it's another chip and 2 putt or maybe 3 putts from there. So in today's video, I'm going to show you different clubs as well in this, but the basic technique that's going to upgrade your chipping and save you shots from around the green. So I'm at the 18th green at Heron's Reach in Blackpool, and par 5. We'll pretend I'm here in 2, but it's a pretty straightforward shot. There's kind of a little bit of fringe, plenty of green to work with, and I think the basic technique and basic shot most people should master is just a little chip and run with a 7-iron. But I am going to show you a pitching wedge in even 60 degrees, how the same technique can be very, very effective in this position and other areas around the green. So the mistake I see a lot of golfers make is they put the ball in the middle, which I don't mind, but they get the lie angle of the club very much typical. They set up to the golf ball and they've been told that they need to move their weight forward. So what they'll do from that position is they'll push the knees forward, but we can see how my mic here moves back behind the ball. That's going to be a huge issue because it's going to cause the lowest point of the swing to be behind. Rather than going to fat it, we're going to miss the ground, come up and thin the ball. So it's a huge issue to begin with. So the first way we're going to set up differently is instead of having the lie angle of the club that way, we're going to have the club much more vertical and go down to the bottom of the grip. And you could even, if you wanted, use your putting grip from there. So straight away, that's going to help us achieve something in the swing that I'm going to talk about in a minute. But once we've got that shaft more upright, we're going to keep the ball in the middle of the stance. But what we're going to do is we're going to move our sternum across over our left foot or lead foot, and that's just going to create a tiny bit of shaft lean. Now, what we need to feel then is that's going to help get that low point ahead of the golf ball. So the length of swing that we make is very much about how far the ball is going to go. So you're going to swing back, but instead of trying to get more shaft lean and hit down, once you go back, you're almost just going to let gravity do the work for you. So you just almost drop in the club, and we can see where I'm bruising the turf there is just slightly ahead of the golf ball. So I'm not going to worry too much about where this one finishes. Obviously, if it goes in, I've been trying to hole it, but we're going to set up as I've discussed. I'm going to aim just slightly right because I think everything's going to feed round. But once that ball's in the middle, shaft's upright and sternum's forward, like I said, length of backswing, and then just drop the club, let gravity give us that little bit of acceleration. And that one's landed short of the green, feeding round nicely. Always like first take. So that one there, beautiful. You can see didn't really get off the ground too much, which is absolutely ideal when there's not too much trouble in front of you, but it was just enough to get over that initial bit. But you could see there I'd have to land the ball short of the green with that technique. And I'm taking a little bit of a risk, and if the grass was much longer than that, I don't think I could play that shot. But my routine for this would be I'd be looking where I'm going to try and land the golf ball. I'd look there and have a couple of practice swings with that length of swing, and then again, set yourself up, let's drop the club on the back of the ball. That one didn't kick quite as far left, but we can see distance control really good, strike fantastic, and like I said, that 7-iron option, even if you get it a little bit wrong, the slightly thin one only goes a little too far, and the little heavy one still gets you on the green, but you won't always be able to use 7-iron. Right, so let's say I wanted to land the ball more just on the edge of the green, or maybe a few feet on the green. I'd need a little bit more loft of the club. Obviously that's going to fly the ball through the air a little bit more and then roll out not quite as much. But the technique's going to be exactly the same, but just with pitching wedge this time. So I'm going to go through that routine again. I'm going to look more at that front edge rather than short of the green. It's going to be obviously a slightly longer swing. And I can feel, this is my issue with chipping, is I can feel when I get that back there, it's almost like I want to pull the club a little bit and it creates that shaft lean. So I've just almost got to feel that as I drop the club, the shaft lean would get back to exactly where it was at address. So definitely something I still need to practice nowadays. But I can see there my contact with the ground's good. So as long as I've made the right length swing, that's landed just on the front edge. Just rolled about 3 feet past. Putting's not too bad from 3 feet. But we could see there, potentially, even this might not be quite the right club landing it on the green. I've played that exactly how I wanted, and it has given me a great result. But let's go one more with a pitching wedge. And the key is that contact. Once you strike the ball consistently, it's much easier to judge what length swing you need. So again, pitching wedge, had my swings. Just landed that one a little bit short of where I wanted. Little upslope killed it a bit. So kind of about 8-10 foot. Not ideal, but if you're somebody who doesn't really chip that close, for now you'll kill for that one. But the better you get with this, obviously the closer we want the ball, ideally in the hole. Now, even we see with pitching wedge there, I can't always land the ball on the green and get the ball near the hole. So that's where I might need even more loft. So that moves me into my lob wedge, 60 degrees. Now, if I'm being honest, I probably wouldn't instinctively reach for this club from here. But with practice with different clubs, you might have your own favourite. So you might find you chip a lot with the same club all the time. But I would say always practice with different ones so you've got options around the green. So again, we're going to set up, just as I've spoken about, sternum forward, shaft upright, obviously a slightly bigger swing again, and that contact with the ground, nice and consistent. And set up. A much higher flight. Got a slightly firm bounce, that one gone again, maybe 3-4 feet past, but you can see a very different trajectory, and certainly if there was more trouble in the way, you can see how that extra loft of the club would really give me a big advantage on being able to lift the ball over there. So, not chipped in yet, and actually the first one was the best one, so let's go one more, see if we can chip in. Second one was better there. Didn't feel like I dragged the club, just felt like I was dropping the club onto the ground. A little better. Getting a little bounce left. I mean, perfect judgment of speed. Little 2-3 footer for birdie on this hole it would be. But the key thing is, if you're going to become a better chipper, you need to make sure your contact with the ball's good. So we're going to make sure that golf ball's in the middle of the stance with whichever club you chip with. We're going to get that shaft nice and upright. It's going to have the club interacting a bit less because it's only going to be the toe of the club touching the ground. But once you're in that position, you're going to feel from there that you get that sternum in front. So I've almost got sternum, belt buckle and club head in a very slightly forward leaning line, and then you're going to swing back, literally just let gravity drop the club so you'll collect ball and then ground. Pick your landing point, strike it great, start chipping in, and if not in, chipping close enough, kiss goodbye to those chip and 3 putts and enjoy getting those scores down.